Welcome back to Tax Talk with Hey Hey, where we offer simplified tax planning and mentorship to help 6 and 7-figure CEOs ditch the daily hustle by achieving financial independence from your business by increasing your purchasing power and diversifying your source of passive income. Through financial mentorship, realistic goal setting, and simplified tax planning, without having to hustle for the rest of your life, with the guarantee of the optimal roadmap to move you towards your desired time freedom. Hi, welcome back to Tax Talk with Hey Hey. I am your host, Suhey Piedra with Prominence Business. We're located in Glendora, California, and today I have the pleasure of having dearest friends Dennis and Lupita Ramirez with Think, Create, and Connect. Excited to have them here today so they could share their story and we can learn a little bit more about what they do. So without further ado, I'd like you guys to start by telling us a little bit about yourselves. I want to know more of the personal side, not the business people I know.
Ladies first.
So we've been together for about 25 years.
Wow.
And we have 3 amazing men in our lives that we got to grow. Adrian, 23 and a half. Andrew, 21. Soon to be 21, actually. And Anthony, 19. So they've been a really...
They've been a blessing. They've been kind of the anchor of us doing what we do now, meaning not just in business life, but also in family.
I could tell because you guys have no gray hair. So you guys have probably really good kids, right? Really good boys. And you're very young to have such these big boys with you all the time. So that's awesome. Good to hear. And so are they part of the business at all?
Our youngest. Yeah. Anthony, he's our drone operator.
Okay.
He's our drone operator at the moment. He is tapping into the editing world as well. In the business that we're in, we often have to keep it fresh, right? And as we are getting older, we need to have that young flavor ready to give their ready to give their 2 cents on what's trending and what looks nice and this and that. So we're putting him more on the creative side as well.
So Think, Create, and Connect is a media. What kind of company? What do you consider it?
We consider it a marketing firm. We're an all around. We basically want to tap into the business's story, how they started, why their water tastes better than the other.
Awesome. And were you already a family man or family with kids when you guys decided to launch this business?
We were. Going back to the portion of the kids, meaning why I feel like they were like the kind of like the anchor to spark that motivation to do something different. Was when we did have a family at a very young age, and we were looking for something to kind of set an example on like the possibilities that are out there with not just the hard work side of life, but also the enjoying what you do and using your passion to also provide for your family. That's kind of where that whole blossomed, right? Is we needed to believe in what we can do together as far as the family side and also on the business side. So yes, to answer your question, when we did start the business, we were already a family of 5 and we already had a good mindset on where we wanted to go.
We built a foundation really young. And that's what was my whole goal, being the mom, being the partner. And, I wanted to make sure, especially experience of having at a young age and my parents' divorce, seeing all those things. It's like, okay, well, what do you need to pay attention to? How do you build that strong foundation? What do you think about first? It took me a long time to actually realize that I do come first. That whole thing about the plane and mask yourself before everybody else. It takes us a while, right? And I was 25 when I learned it. And that's, the boys were really small at that time. So I said, okay, I come first. If I'm strong enough, I can make us strong enough. If I make us strong enough, we make these 3 strong enough. And that's how I built our foundation. And I think he just followed along really well. And so with that, we were able to conquer so many changes, so many things that came our way. I think that's really motivated us even more. No, this is just one more thing we need to work on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's
she's
amazing.
and Lupita's been a big pillar on the power part of what we do. Because there's often times where I'm like, I'm done with this, and then all of a sudden she brings me back to reality, and she's like, let's focus on the now. You know, everything will work itself out eventually,
Yeah.
and let's just continue doing what we're doing. And yeah, I always call her my angel.
Oh, that's awesome. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. But tell me a little bit. I know that the listeners, we have a lot of entrepreneurs, and we do feel alone sometimes, right? Like we're the only ones going through those struggles. But share with us, like, how scary was it to really take that leap? Because you were a W-2 employee, you had a good job, you were providing for your family. Both of you guys are out there doing your thing, and then all of a sudden you want to create basically a baby again from nothing to where it's at now. But how scary was it to take that leap?
It was I'll share my part first, and then you could for
It was more scary for him.
so
The brave one.
so I took two leaps of faith, right? The first leap was when I decided to move away from the labor side of what I was working on,
Mhm.
which was what I saw my father do and my uncles do. And as a young father, that was the first stop that I went to. Was like, okay, I'm a young father. I need to make sure that I provide. Who cares about what I want to do? That's out
Got
the
it.
door, right? So I took that leap of faith from going back to school and actually chasing something that I was passionate about. Once I started getting into the industry of creative work and providing services for different businesses, I was like, oh wow, this is a whole new different ball game. Um, so then when I started working for a company doing something new, something that I've never done before, I did, I was really good at it, to the point where I kept excelling.
Yeah.
Eventually, being around good people who were kind of leading the way, and those people are actually you and your sisters.
Yeah.
You're kind of like a step ahead of what we were doing, right?
Yeah.
And in a different industry,
Right.
but it made it personable. It familiarized us with the possibilities of what can actually happen when you put your passion first.
Yeah.
So seeing examples of different people that we were meeting and seeing that it was like, this is possible. This is something that I can do because I also have a strong foundation, just like they do. That, of course, it was scary, right? The fear was always there,
Mhm.
but it was almost a fun fear at the same time.
Before you share, I just want to point on something you said, because we always hear as entrepreneurs, to hang out with people like-minded, right? The people that are doing what you're doing, people that maybe are ahead of you of where you want to be. Why? For that reason, because all of a sudden you see things that I could do that. They're just like, like me, or I'm just like them. We were friends before, we started our business. And so you see what we were doing and our struggles and what we were going through. You're like, wait, we could do that too. You know what I mean? So it's like, we didn't mean to, but somehow it was like we started hanging out. We're like, Dennis, you could do this. Like, this is what we're doing and this is how we're doing it. So we became to sharing. And all of a sudden it was just like, you're doing it and we're all doing it, because it's not just me. It's not just you. It's, everybody that we're around. All of a sudden we're around other entrepreneurs and we cheer each other on, because, it's not just proud moments, but I feel so blessed to be around people that we can share and that they relate. I'll tell you, hey, this is how business is doing, or how is your business doing? And, we can all relate and support each other. So I think hanging around people that have those same goals or same struggles help support each other in ways that we didn't even know they could. So
I completely agree. I feel like even now, this day, that we're, continuing to evolve and grow within our business and our professionalism and all that it entails. We're still coming across different business owners, different people who are maybe on a higher level,
mhm.
but we're in the same room and then we're like, wait a minute, they have the same struggles we do.
Yeah.
We're not that far away.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's always, I always see the potential of things. And that's why I think I'm a little bit more, I take the brave part of making that leap. You know, when Dennis told me he wanted to go to school, we were going to be stuck on one income for like 6 months, I believe. And the kids were, again, so small. And there was a worry of, what about food? What about this? What are we? I know how to make eggs con tortilla. I know how to make, little things happen, and we did have like at that time.
Your stretch, whatever that
Just whatever we could do. So, when he said that, I was all on board. I wanted to see him go for it. I knew he was going to do it. I knew what was going to come out of it. So when he did that, I was very proud. And in the end, what happened? We went to his graduation. Things started to just blow up. What the next leap that he took was, to just leave the labor work and then go into business, to go into an office world, corporate America. And he started to learn what I knew. So, with me wearing so many hats in different industries of being in retail, being in food, being in medical, I always like to see the potential of anybody with either on the customer perspective or being on the desk. I wanted to learn, okay, what, you came in here for a reason. I want to know what you came in here for, so we go from there. And now when he told me, oh, we can start our own business, learning about other businesses, I was like, Mr. Rogers fan right here. I want to see how things are made. And you just blew my mind. This is what I wanted to do. I've been doing it my whole life and I had no idea.
Yeah.
Also one last note on that is that there was a moment in our lives where we switched, right? Like I started looking at things a little bit more from a different perspective. So I've always liked the pictures that she took all the time.
Yeah, I do remember those.
Back in the day, like when it was like a little, wind up camera and things like that. Her pictures, she just had the eye. She had that magic eye.
Mhm.
That's just something people are born with, right?
Yeah.
So so it was almost an investment, but it was also a gift at the same time. I gifted her on Valentine's Day. I gifted her a camera. So she can take photos and enjoy what she's doing. But also I had a strategy in place. And
You was testing me with that.
I can see what you do here. That's awesome. Like the little kids, right? Here's your first camera.
And all of a sudden I was like, babe, we're going to do this for different businesses. You have the camera now. So let's go.
So it's just like when you show your trainer, you did so good doing this. Okay, you can't go backwards now. You have to go forward.
That's awesome.
Okay.
That's pretty cool though, because that's how you became the team, and I've always known the Dennis and Lupita team. And I get to see, working with you guys, I got to see like your strengths and then where you come in and you would be like so good at coming up with the quotes or coming up with the, the descriptions. And like you said, the pictures, you would capture these amazing moments. And I'm just like, she just has this eye, So together, you guys make a great company. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
So, thank you for sharing that. Do you have any regrets since you started all of this? You said you can't go backwards. Sometimes we want to give up. Sometimes the struggle is real. Is there any regrets where you say, I should have just stayed working for the union or, wherever and been getting benefits and all that good stuff? Like, how does that play a role in your guys'? Do you feel that you should just be somewhere else?
No regret.
No regrets either. I think everything that has happened has literally happened for a reason. Even to this current day, this current moment, we're still learning, we're still evolving, we're still growing together. And I feel that in anybody's case, right, the stuff that you go through and overcome end up making you into the person you are. Although there has been scary moments, of course, just like everybody else has experienced. Once you overcome that, you just realize how powerful you are. And those bits and pieces that you take away from each of those struggles are molding you to become stronger for the next challenge, right? And it might be a challenge on another level, but you've already gone through something that kind of molded you and made you a strong person. So then you kind of get that like bring it on attitude to life, because we don't know what life is going to bring.
Right. So my belief is that the reason we don't feel those regrets is because we're in the right place, right? Is it challenging? Yes. Is it hard? Yes. But when you love what you do, there's a passion behind it that It doesn't feel like work, and it feels like you're just doing what you love. And yes, we have struggles and challenges as business owners, but we're getting through them with love, with care, with whatever it is, with this passion, this drive, because we're in the right place.
Right.
So
It's a different type of stress. You know, we handle it differently other than just like, I can't tell this person something. I'm just gonna go home and let it out. Like, no, you're not in this house, you're not letting it out, you know. So we're gonna take it a different way and we'll meditate on that.
We have, however, getting into our routines of like when we're at, because husband and wife team.
yeah,
So when we're at home in the kitchen, oh, did you see this? This will be good for this client or whatever. All that.
Off
We're
the
not talking
top.
about work. Let's stop talking about work.
yeah,
But it goes back to the passion, right? If you're passionate about it, you could be driving and like, I'll see a billboard and I'll be like, oh, that's a good strategy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use that mental check,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has me doing that. I'm like, oh, did you fill this card? Or, like, did you see the font on the billboard? Or something? I'm like, oh, am I?
Well, because it's true. When we hang out as sisters and we're having a glass of wine or whatever, we try not to talk about business, but somehow we kind of end up back talking about the business. But it's not to the point where it's overwhelming, where you feel like, oh, here we go again. Like, I don't want to talk about work, To me, work is exciting, and talking about, like you said, strategizing about a client or something, it gets these juices flowing and you're just excited about it, that it's not like a boring conversation in a sense. I don't know. But that's just how I am. And I know that a lot of the times you want to say you clock out and you leave work at work. It's difficult. And when you love what you do, you just kind of drag it everywhere you go. I mean, it is part of you, right? So, but I'm glad I'm not the only one. So, so obviously, I think you've answered this question. Would you do it again? It sounds like you would pretty strongly. But what advice would you give somebody that is in that position where they're, should they quit their job? Should they not? Should they, maybe follow their passion? With the pandemic, you saw a lot of people like on TikTok or Etsy just boom because they had the time to start doing the crafts or the cooking or develop what their passions, are. And so, but some of them are still working for someone else. So they have this as still their side hustle. And I know that you were there, and I'd be like, dude, this is not a side hustle. Like, this can be your career if you just, focus on feeding that side instead of someone else's job, I guess. But what advice would you give someone that finds himself in that same situation?
I would say, dig deep down into what makes you happy. And the reason why I say that is because I don't want people to misinterpret if you are working for somebody and that makes you happy.
Right. Yeah.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. If you are working for somebody and that makes you happy, then by all means, you are serving your purpose to yourself,
Uh-huh.
right? In some cases, you kind of outgrow certain things that you're doing. And at that point, that means that you're not being true to your own happiness, and that's kind of what happened in my case, was that I was excelling at every job that I was doing, but I would hit a wall, right? And that wall would continue and continue no matter what company I worked for, because that drive was already inside me of I want to do more. I want to
Yeah.
do more. If I'm gonna stress and have all these crazy things going on in my mind, I want to do it for my own business at the end of the day. So the advice would be start with what you love and see where that takes you. It's like how we tell our boys, don't think about the money first.
Right.
Think about what makes you happy. What would you do for free? And then charge for it.
Yeah. That's really good advice. Really good advice.
Yeah, I like the do what you would do for free, because it just comes so naturally.
Well, I mean, we see it in our kids, right? I mean, we want the best for them. But my son was, he's always been really smart, but I call him lazy because things come really easy to him, right? And so he has that photographic memory where you teach him one thing and he's like an expert the next day, And so, but it made him lazy.
And so I would always tell him when he was graduating high school and he really didn't know what he wanted to do. And he said he wanted to do what I did. But one day he comes home from, I think it was like the speed race or something. And all of a sudden he's just like all about cars. And so, but I had never seen that spark in him. And going through what we're going through as business owners, and you see that spark when you talk about what you do, and you're like, they're in the right place, you know? So when I saw that in him, I was like, why don't you go and pursue the car thing? And if you don't like it, then you go back into the accounting world. And he's just like, but then they start thinking about time. And I'm like, dude, don't worry about that because we've already been there, done that. And maybe we did the wrong thing first because no one told us to be happy about what we do, kind of in a sense. We were just supposed to get a job, right? I mean, whose parents didn't say, okay, graduate high school and, go to college or don't, but you need to get a job. Like you need to start providing, right? And so instead I was just like, do what makes you happy, And so, yeah, he went to school doing the car thing, but he comes home and he talks and he has conversations because he's happy about what he's doing. Maybe he's, still has more jobs to go through and find where he's going to be for the long term, but we already know he's in the industry that he wants to be in. So happiness, I believe you hit it. I never really thought of it that way, but I think happiness is one of the things we should first think about, right? Is what makes us happy.
Our health is what we depend on. So if we're not healthy doing what we work for, even if we are working for corporate America or wherever we're working, if our health is not in place, then we're not going to go far.
Yeah.
And so if we're happy what we're doing, which working for somebody or for ourselves, we're going to go really far. It's going to keep on excelling.
I like that. I follow your guys' social media. I see your health journey, and I think that's very encouraging. You guys have put your health as a priority for a few years now, and we need all the energy we can get in our business. So props to you on that.
Thank you so much.
And the last, couple questions here that I have is more about the business. How's the business doing? Is evolving? Is evolving part of your everyday, journey and strategy?
It is. I think with marketing in general, it's never going to stop evolving. I feel that when we first started the company, which was in 2016, social media advertising, social media presences for business was kind of looked at more like a hobby, more of a, oh, I don't really understand it. I don't understand why I need to be there. But, let's just put a couple of pictures or put that flyer there or whatever. I mean, now you look at it and it's kind of like the Wild West of content, right? We're all doing things to catch somebody's attention.
Right.
And at the same time, you're trying to catch their attention to bring it back to your brand, right? So the creativity keeps evolving, these strategies keep evolving, and that's the beauty of it. That if you're not passionate about it, you're gonna become static in this world that we live in of marketing, right? So for us, it's a challenge, but it's a good challenge because, sometimes when I look at the things to do, I'm like, man, my list does not stop, right? But then I think of the other side, do I want it to stop? Because if I had nothing to do, then that means I'm not valuable to anybody.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where I kind of had to stop my own mind from, like balancing. Like, dude, do you really want to be like not busy, or is it just you because you're tired right now?
Yeah, we know how it could be overwhelming for any business thinking about social media or marketing in general. So when they come to us, that overwhelmedness, we have it already strategized to, okay, let's step back. Let's really look at it. So really looking at marketing in any industry, it can always evolve in so many different ways. Sometimes it could just stay static, like medical. Just talk about health, we don't really have to go more into dancing. We don't have to do all these TikToks or anything. But then you have a business that wants to do all the fun stuff. So we're always keeping up with what industry we're trying to promote.
And that's just the trends right now. Who knows what it's going to be when AI takes place?
Well, Dennis and Lupita, before we wrap up, I'd really like to know, is there anything else you guys want to share with us? I'd love for you guys to provide to our listeners where they could find you, contact information, things like that.
Yeah, I think before we share the contact info, I just really want to for those who are listening to this for advice on the switch from the W-2 form to independent, really reach out to a tax professional. The reason why I say that is because in our story, prominence was a big part of us actually making the leap. So I didn't want to leave that out because it's very important in our story, right? If we're referring to fear and everything, fear is based on not having the security, right? So the security part of your job is what makes people stay, even though they may be uncomfortable or they might not be doing what they like to do, right? But at the end of the day, you have to think about it. If you don't go to work for this person, same thing is going to happen that if you have a business that doesn't work, you're going to be out of a job either way, right? So having that sense of how the numbers would work, where can I find this? Where can I find that? Everything that the employer is providing, your tax professional or somebody in that world is going to be able to guide you towards easing that fear because of the paperwork or the understanding of the numbers, right? And I share that because a lot of the friends that I know that have told us, like, how did you guys do it? Like, I don't even know where to start and this and that. I say, talk to your tax professional.
Get educated, I think, is my main thing. It's, the first time you put us into a networking room with a bunch of professionals, the education was there. And that's actually what helped us make the leap even more easier because we were worried about benefits. We were worried about all these things that we had to think about on our own. And you put us in a room where everybody had the answers.
Right.
So I think if we all stay educated enough to ask questions, to really dig deep into the accounts that you're signing up for, I think we can really learn how we can take this to the next level being on our own. So thank you so much for having us on this podcast with you because, we see the growth where that could be, especially staying educated for everybody else. So.
Yep. And like I always tell people, I'm not the expert, but I know a little bit about different industries, right? And so what I did with that was put you in a room where there were experts in that room. We networked with them. And before you knew it, you found everybody you needed to help provide your health benefits or whatever it was that you needed in that room. And you got to know them. They became friends and, other people that you could share your struggles with. And together it was kind of cool to watch everybody grow in their own business and stuff like that. So I agree. It's been a blessing to watch you guys grow and to be part of it all. So thank you.
Yeah, likewise. I mean, just from us, learning that you and your sister Cruz at the time was going to start a business, and then Brisa came in, and then now you guys have like a good staff. I mean, just I love it. I love to see the growth all around. So for those who would want to know more about us and
see our growth,
and maybe we could help your business in the future. It's thinkcreateandconnect.com, and we're also available on Instagram, Facebook, everything.
We're not hard to find. Just Think, Create, and Connect, and TCC, where there's no business like your business.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram. And our website is prominence.business.com.
So if your mindset is ready to excel to the next level and you want to give up the multiple hats to a business who will support you, then schedule a call with us today. We can be reached at 626-825-8249. Please give us a review and share us with your friends and family.